Camp Pelham Korea, up on the demilitarized zone of between North and South Korea. I actually had volunteered to go to Korea. I went to basic training in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and I stayed right there, same basic training company for my occupational specialty, which was 12 Charlie Combat Bridge Crewman. And after graduating, I flew into Korea, and as everybody that goes to Korea knows, then you go to what they call the turtle farm. It's for a couple of weeks of indoctrination into what you're getting into being in Korea, and especially up with the 2nd Infantry Division up on the demilitarized zone. And I went to that at Camp Casey, which was headquarters to the 2nd Engineering Battalion, which I was going to Echo Company 2nd Engineers in Camp Pelham. And the camp was, it was a small little camp. It was in a little town called Sonyuri, right outside of a bigger town called Munsan, and we were just right on the south side of the Imjim River. And we were there with another company, the 2nd 17th Field Artillery Company, and their job. And actually, when I was there in 1982 to 1983, the 2nd 17th Field Artillery, their job was to fire into North Korea and basically slow them down so we could put our bridge in. They were the only live fire company in the United States Army at the time, and just like us, they didn't perform that duty on Camp Pelham. They had fire bases outside of the camp, and one of them was they called it Fort Papa 1. And so whenever we had an alert or whenever they needed to get up there fast, I want to say they kept a contingent there all the time. And with 2nd Engineers E Company, our mission was to put in a bridge or a raft to evacuate the north side of the Imjim River, which was basically the Panmunjom and the infantry units up there guarding the DMZ. And I'll put a picture in right now of us putting a full closure bridge across the Imjim River. And that was our main purpose at Camp Pelham. And it was a small little camp. We lived in basically Quonset huts. In our berthing areas were just open bay with bunk beds. We had a contingent of Katusas, Korea augmentation to the U.S. Army, that they're Koreans, and Koreans had to do mandatory service. And if you could speak some English or you had some college background, you became a Katusa, and so they were integrated with our units. And so when we were out in the field or dealing with the locals, we couldn't speak Korean, so they were there to translate. And and we bird with them. Matter of fact, my rack mate was a Katusa. He slept on the top rack. I slept on the bottom. And our latrine was building right next door to to our barracks. So which wasn't a problem in the summertime, but in the wintertime, when it's snowing and you need to you need to go use the bathroom or take a shower, you'd have to bolt out the door and run down to over to the latrine. And then once you got in there, it was basically open, open toilets, open shower, open sinks. So check your modesty at the door. And the camp, we didn't guard the camp. The camp was actually guarded by civilian contractors, and I'll post a picture of one right now of one of the contractors. And they meant business. You did not. We had curfew there at midnight. You had to be in. And as a matter of fact, I'll post a pic. I'll slide some pictures in here right now of our passes. And most everybody got a daily pass where you could go out into the Ville when we got Liberty leave, and so you could go into town, and that pass had one color, and then only a few people every night could go and spend the night and off the camp, and that had another color. So it was unusual, to get an overnight pass. I mean, so most of us had just the daily pass, and then we had a card to check out our weapon from the armory. But yeah, you did not want to, if you didn't have an overnight pass and you thought you were going to stay out late. You did not want to be trying to sneak back in past these guards, because they'd shoot you. Because we were on the demilitarized zone. I mean, there was incursions all the time up there, shootings, North Korean spies trying to come across the Imjim River. It was definitely a shoot first, ask questions later type of place. And some of us had. I'll post a picture in here of our houseboy. Some of us had, we called him Adashi. Some of us had he just tired himself out to, shine your shoes, make your rack, do whatever, iron your clothes. He was it. So, he was and he would come on base, and he would just come right up into the barracks and do your laundry, whatever needed to get done. And so yeah, there was a lot of a lot of entrepreneurship in Camp Pelham and Sonyeri with the Koreans. There was a guy named Snap. He would just go around taking pictures of everything, and he had a little camera shop there on Camp Pelham. And if you would just swing by there and look at his collection, and if there's some pictures you wanted, pictures of you, pay him, and off you went. And yeah, so there was a little dispensary there in our eating area. I haven't, I did 3 years in the Army and 22 in the Coast Guard, so I want to call a latrine, I want to call that a head, and the eating area, I want to call that a galley. So excuse me for that. But yeah, it was just a very interesting little camp. And they say Sonyeri, a tiny little village, and it was basically what you would think you would find outside a little army camp. It was just nothing but bars, and prostitution was legal and accepted at the time in Korea, and so all the bars had prostitutes. And they were actually under a medical observation all the time. They would get checked and have to be certified, and if they did come up with some sort of venereal disease, they would have to get that, taken care of. And if you got venereal disease and went into the the dispensary, then you had to go into the ville and point out who you were with, so that they could make sure that they got health care too. So yeah, it was just all that was just all the kind of acceptable in the norm. And it did kind of, I was 18 years old, and it did kind of seem unusual to me. I thought, man, it's kind of weird, out here in the, Korea was very, wasn't as modernized as it is now. It was very rural, and so it's just kind of took me back a little bit. I thought, wow, this is all kind of just surreal. But Camp Pelham has gone through some name changes since I was there, but predominantly through its life, it was Camp Pelham, and it was named after a Confederate cavalry soldier, John C. Pelham. And I'll post a picture of the front gate. I think I posted it at the beginning of this video, but I'll post a picture in right now of the front gate. And actually, I'll post a picture in, a little video in right now. I went back in 2016. My son was stationed there, was stationed there in the Navy in Seoul. So I went up there and I took this little video of the, which would be the front gate area, and of looking into, Sonyeori. So I'll post that right now. And that bridge that you see in that video, that wasn't the bridge that was there when I was there in '82 and '83. And I'll post a picture now of me walking across the bridge when I was there. And yeah, it's my understanding that bridge was put in later, when the camp became Camp Gary Owens, and I guess they had some heavy armor there, so they had to beef that bridge up. But this next video, there is audio on this next video, but it's kind of rough. And what it is it's my son explaining that what they're doing. They're in the process of revitalizing, reclaiming the camp and making it into basically a housing area for the Koreans there in Sonyeori. And I'll talk about RC4, which is the camp on the other side of Sonyeori here a little bit later. But they had already done that to RC4. So when we came into Sonyeori from Munsan, you could see that RC4 was totally gone from what I knew it in 1982-83. It was just a housing complex, a community. What's it say, Gary?
It says that they're what are you doing a video?
Yeah.
Well, let me read it again real quick so I can get you a better picture. But it's part of the program to
My son Garrett says this sign says that this is on the outside of Camp Pelham here, and it says it's a plan to change the American bases over to what?
Yeah, they're going to clean it up.
Clean it up.
Give it back to the Korean.
And they're going to give it back to the Korean people as a present. And on this next video, there's no sound, but I'm standing right where I think the old gate used to be, where you'd come across the bridge. And when you're standing there, the sign is kind of quick, but directly to the right is going to Uijeonbu, and that would be the way you'd come out of Camp Pelham and kind of veer to the right and go down that road. And the engineering motor pool was right down there to your right. and then kind of straight across from where I'm standing, that road would take you to the bridge site where we would put the bridge or raft in from the on the Imjim River, and then of course directly to the left is looking back into Sonyuri, and then if you keep following that road, it'll take you into Moonson. And though obviously all those high rises weren't there, and it has definitely modernized since 1982, and yeah, we also had our motor pool, which was off Camp Pelham, and I'll post some pictures right now of us down the motor pool in '82 and '83. And now I'll post a video that I took in 2016 of, that motor pool is totally gone. And I'll post that little video right now. And it was, you know, you know, very reminiscent when I went back in 2016. Uh, there was also another little camp on the other side of Sonyuri as you came in from Moonson called RC4. And unfortunately, I took some video footage of that in 2016, but it didn't come out. But that was where it was kind of like the movie theater was down there, the ball fields were down there. There was a air defense artillery unit stationed down there, and actually, I went with them. My platoon or company went with them for air defense artillery live fire, and I'll post a link to that video in the description. And we also went to Team Spirit, and I'll post a separate video I have of that in the description also. And yeah, Camp Pelham, just a remarkable tour. Our daily routine was just like any other Army unit. We'd get up in the morning and we'd run PT, and I'll post a picture here of my PT outfit. And I don't know why we didn't run in uniform, but we for some reason they said we probably to give the tailor that was there at Camp Pelham some money. We all had these custom made PT outfits, and we'd get up in the morning, go run a couple miles right out the front gate into Sonyuri, and out through the dirt roads and run a couple miles, and then come back and then have breakfast, and then we would muster up down in the motor pool, work on our equipment, and and that was it. And then come back to Camp Pelham, and then we'd have, if you didn't have duty, you would be able to get have a pass, and like I explained earlier, and go into the Ville. Yeah, it was really a great experience. Matter of fact, right when I finished up there in November '83, President Reagan made the first visit, presidential visit up to Camp Pelham, up to the DMZ, and it was, I remember standing guard duty there because they had relieved the contracted guards and replaced them with, active duty U.S. servicemen. And, it was just a great finale to, have him come up there to where we were at. And so it was a fond memory, and a fond memory of doing a lot of bridging operations over the Imjim River. We would put in a full closure bridge. We would put in a raft. We even experimented trying to put in a frozen ice bridge. Yeah, we actually ran a cable across the Imjim River in the wintertime to kind of slow the water down, and it started to freezing, and I don't remember it as working. I don't think we ever drove anything over it. We could have, but yeah, I think we were just seeing if we could get it to the river to stop and freeze thick enough that you could actually drive, some vehicles over. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I had compiled a picture video of Camp Pelham, and I had compiled one of my time going back in 2016. And I thought it would probably be a little better if I just kind of did one explaining the pictures. And I also detail all this in my book Around the World. I have a full chapter on my time in Korea and of my other units when I was in the Army and in the Coast Guard. And you can get this through my webpage, www.edsemler.com, and it'll link you to Amazon, where you can get it as a ebook or a paperback. And it explains in detail my time there, and going to Team Spirit and Air Defense Artillery, and going to Rock Ranger training, and just the small things that you just don't have time to throw into a video. So I hope you enjoyed this.